Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is right now for you. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how I implemented this application that showcases how remote procedure calls are used, for example, in Python, because here I'm using Python. This application also handles thread locking. It supports real-time multi-client updates and communicates with the Wikipedia API. Obviously, we have a client Python and the server Python file, and then we have notebook XML for the database. And let's jump into it, how this really works. Let's start with the server and then the client, and there we're going to start out the app. So we have a bunch of imports here. We are taking XML RPC for the server. We are taking the Socket server for the threading. We are taking this XML tree for basically iterating the tree in the database file. Then we have datetime threading request. That's very important for handling the web APIs. And then Colorama is just for styling. First, we set up the threading log. Then we just take a hard-coded variable for the database file. Then we make sure that the XML file really exists. And then here we have Wikipedia info. I'm going to come back to this. We set up a class called threaded XML RPC server, which handles the threading. And we set up another server called notebook server. Very interesting. Why do we set up two servers when we are only going to use one? Very interesting. Good question. So here we are actually running the servers. We take the server class that we defined, threaded XML RPC server before. It's localhost running on port 8000. You can choose whatever you want. And so this is the server. And then we take this server and we register the notebook server as an instance to it. And we make the server serve forever. So basically, the notebook server is the custom, or more like customized form of the server, because you see you have all of these methods that I defined here that are gonna do all of the things that it needs to do for us. Now, we have all of these methods, very nice, but look at how the client actually has almost the same methods, right? So what is the difference? Well, in the server side, as you can see, the methods on the server side are communicating mostly just with the XML. That's all it does. It's just getting the data from the XML and turning it into a dictionary and then returning it. Well, actually, in this case, this is an endnote, so we are modifying the XML, so we're not returning a dictionary, we're just returning a string. But then in these, we are returning a dictionary because we take all of the information from the XML file and then we return it as a dictionary in all of these places. Yeah, just in different ways. Okay, I think we can move on to discuss how fetching from the web works in Python. So we need this request library with which we can fetch. But in order to fetch from somewhere, we also need a URL. And in this case, in the URL, this is the URL, and we have a predefined parameter that we get when the method is called. And we also have a header file because when I tried to do it without it, Wikipedia API wouldn't allow me to, well, actually Wikipedia API wouldn't give me a response. So that's how it's done. Right. So we get the request and we raise for status, that's just to look for errors. And then we turn the response into a JSON and we have link title. And basically I just add the link to the article to the node, because if you look at how the JSON file looks, there is actually no description and no body, so I cannot really add anything to the node. So I just added the link. And then we are obviously handling the exceptions. This is very important because we are fetching from somewhere else. When your client is fetching from a server, it really needs to be in a try-catch block at all times. So now as we're moving on to the client, we have the menu here, whatever. We have all these imports, some, definitions for the styling. And then this is actually important because this is where we are connecting to the server, right? You see, we got the server here. And in the following methods, you see that every method body is wrapped in a try-catch block, try-except block. And the reason why that is because in every method, we are actually calling the server and we are asking the server to give us the data that we need so that later on, after that, we can print all of these. Like if you look at this, like they're the same methods. It's called almost the same methods as in the server side, but here it's full of prints because we are just basically printing the data that we get from the server to the front end. And we are checking for, some different things. We are, for example, here we are comparing the search keyword. Where is it? we are comparing the search keyword to the content of the note, right? And then we have the main menu where I am using Schlex library to split the quotation, to split the input based on the quotation marks. You will see why we actually need that. And obviously that's also in a try catch block. And then after we got the arguments separated, we have either, 1, 2, or 3 arguments, and we check for what the command is. And based on the command and the number of arguments, we do something that we need to do. And then we exit when the keyboard is interrupted or when exit is asked for. So that's basically how it is. Let's actually try this out. Yep. And this one as well. Let's clear this. Right, so we first start up the server, and then we can actually start up multiple clients, and we can start. I'm actually curious what we have here, right? We want to know what we have here. We have this list. Let's, for example, add something new, and let's add the new topic. Right, so now when we list detailed, as you can see, the server, I don't know, this Python server is pretty slow, but as you can see, we got this new topic now. We can also try out the wiki search. Like, let's search for, I don't know, Lahti, something. I'm running out of ideas. Okay, so now, as you can see, this link to this is added here. And if I try to add something that already exists, like for example, something like this, it's not going to work because it already exists. And then we can, we can guide, we can, I think I tried pretty much everything. We can now search for some kind of keyword in everything. Forget all. I don't think, well, now it's going to return everything basically. Yeah, so this is how it works. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice week.